So today we're going to talk about generational healing. I've had some comments come through on my website of people asking me if I would talk more about generational healing. And what's interesting about that too is I have a dear friend of mine who's very intuitive, and she has told me, and this has been confirmed to me on more than one occasion, that my job is to put an emphasis with everything that I do on generational healing. So that should be the focus of what I teach in my classes, and the message that I give when I speak to others is all about generational healing. So that tells me it's pretty important stuff. So I'm excited to talk to you about this today, and I'm going to keep this video pretty short, but we will revisit this time and time again, so no worries. First of all, what is generational healing? So everything that we experience is recorded in our DNA. All of our powerful emotions and feelings, it all gets stored away in our DNA. It's our DNA blueprint. So our job in this life is to focus on our own healing. We've got to take care of the things that are holding us back, the emotions that we've buried within us that are rooted deep and that are just festering inside and creating all kinds of problems for us, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. So being able to recognize those deep-rooted emotions and beliefs that are embedded in our DNA and being able to heal those and let them out and release them will do wonders for you. Like I said, it'll do wonders for you physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of it. Okay, but not only are we dealing with our own emotional issues that we have trapped inside of us, but we've also inherited quite a bit that we don't realize. And this was so interesting to me because this was all new to me over the last several months. A year ago from today, I knew nothing about this. And I can't tell you how it has changed my life and the life of my family in so many monumental ways that I can't help but share this message because it's so important and it's so powerful. So if I didn't know about this up until a year ago, I can't imagine how many people out there have never even heard of it. But I can tell you, if you found this video and you're feeling something and this is speaking to you, then you found it for a reason, and there's something definitely in this for you that you can take away that should be very helpful for you and your family. So if this is new to you and this was new to me a year ago, then of course I can't help but think that our ancestors and all of our family before us knew nothing about it. You can count on the fact that they probably had a lot of trapped emotions that they did not take care of, that they did not release, that got embedded into their DNA and passed on down to us. And you'll see that in families. You'll see that there's common patterns that run through family lines, such as addiction, depression, diabetes, so many different things that actually can all be traced back to an emotion, a powerful belief that was embedded within someone in your family at one time along the family generational lines, and that got stored away, it got encoded into the DNA and passed on to you and your family. But what's so awesome about this, you guys, is when you're able to find those trapped emotions and you're able to clear them and heal them and send them away, not only you will see a significant difference in your life, the way that you feel physically, emotionally, spiritually, but your family as well. And I've talked about that in videos past, so you'll have to go back and revisit the video where I talk about the DNA and how that works, and the studies that were done through the US military, the research that was done that proved this true, that when you cleanse your DNA, when you take care of something in your DNA, it also changes the DNA of all of those who share that DNA with you. So it is powerful stuff, and it's exciting. So the questions that I've had are what do you do? How do you heal this? And there's so many different ways that you can do it. It's always done the way that I do it. It's always through the atonement. It is always through my Savior Jesus Christ. He is the one who does the healing, but we just have to ask, and oftentimes that's the part we're missing. If you don't have that gift of intuition and you're not that familiar with the way the Spirit speaks to you and you're not that in tune, I guess you could say, then it is helpful to have a friend or someone who has that gift of intuition. And you know what? There's many, many gifts of the Spirit, many different ones. And I've had the awesome opportunity over the last several months to meet so many friends who have these amazing, incredible gifts, all a little bit different from each other, that are all incredible gifts of the Spirit. So a lot of times I will, I'll have something come to mind and I know it's important, but I'm just not quite sure what it is. And I'll have one of my friends who has this amazing gift just kind of confirm what I was already thinking and feeling, or even add to it and kind of help me see some things and bring some things into the light that I wasn't quite aware of. So I'm going to share an example of this with you. This was recent. It was about a month ago. I had lots of things going on within our family, and I didn't realize they were all connected. So I went to my friend Kathy, and I always go to her with a list. I always have a list of things that I just need some help figuring out. And she kind of helps me through muscle testing, figure out which ones are the priority, because we don't always have a lot of time to spend on my long lists. So we went in order of priority, and the first issue that we talked about was my daughter's bloody noses. So both of my daughters were having issues with bloody noses, and it just came out of nowhere. Just bleeding all the time, morning, night, you name it. I was just finding blood everywhere. Okay, around the same time, my little baby had a seizure, which was really unlikely for him or anyone in my family. I never personally, we hadn't experienced any of our kids really having to ever go to the ER, and my youngest, he's always been perfectly healthy, and we did not see this coming. And then a third thing on my list, which is going to sound completely bizarre to you, the Spirit will tell me things, and a year ago where I was at, I would ignore these things, and I just didn't see them as significant. I just saw these things as interesting, ironic, coincidental, sometimes funny, and I would just disregard them. But I tell you what, now with everything that I know, where I'm at today, I write everything down and I take it to the Lord because I want to know. I'm learning that He speaks to us daily, several times a day, through the smallest things, through the most insignificantly seemingly ways. He gives us signs and shows us things, and He's hoping that we'll inquire about those things and that we'll go to Him. And He's got answers to give us if we go. A lot of times I've found that these are the mysteries of the kingdom that He speaks about in the scriptures. The mysteries aren't just given to everyone. We have to seek. But when we ask and when we seek and we knock, He will give it to us. And that's been my experience. So one day I was getting my hair done. This was about, several months ago. It was last year. And my hairdresser said, "Lindsey, I noticed the strangest thing out of the top of your head. You've got this red patch of hair growing right out of the center of your head." She's been doing my hair for years. She says, "I've never noticed this before. This is bizarre." Well, I thought it was too, and I had no idea why. There's no redheads in my family. And, you know, usually you get gray hair. That's usually what you hear, is your hairdresser noticing your gray hair. But no, it was red hair. So I took a mental note, and that was it. But then the next time I went back, about 8 weeks later, she noticed it was still there. And every time after that, when I would go for my appointments, she would bring it up and say, "Oh, you've got this red hair growing, and I've been telling my friends I've never seen anything like this before." That's when it hit me one day. Well, maybe this is significant. Maybe there's more to this, and I should find out. So I added it to my list. And sure enough, my friend Kathy picked up on it and said, "That's a priority. Let's talk about it." So through her intuitive gift that she has, she was able to connect this to an ancestor in my family. Now what's interesting is I don't want to give some TMI. There's a lot of details to some things that were going on in our family that you probably don't want to hear about. But let me just tell you that there were other issues that had to do with blood. Not just the bloody noses, but we had other issues going on. And one of the issues had to do with 14 days. And it was so interesting because we found out that that was my ancestor's way of letting us know that this had to do with her. And she was grandma number 14. So 14 generations back on my dad's side of the family was this grandmother who was trying to get my attention. And she was trying to do it in so many different ways. And I was starting to pay attention. So all these dots are starting to connect. So I've got her letting me know, yep, grandma number 14, hence the 14 days. And then we found out through muscle testing what those emotions were that were trapped. So it turned out that she had these emotions, and she realized after the fact that she's no longer here that she had passed those down onto us, and she was seeing them being manifested through my daughter's bloody noses and in so many other ways. For example, my child number 3, my daughter Cambry, she had severe anxiety and had it ever since I can remember. She's 4 years old now. And it was very much centered around the baby. So my youngest, he's a year old now, and when he was born, she just kind of attached to him and wouldn't let anyone around him. And as he started to learn how to crawl and you know, he was left alone in a room or something, she would panic, and she would, to the point where she would hyperventilate, and she would cry, and she would scream, "Someone help him, he's gonna die!" And there would be nothing wrong with him. And I always found that really interesting, and I just thought that was just part of her anxiety. But it turns out that this was a deep-rooted emotion from a memory that had happened to this grandmother 14 generations back. We found out through further asking and muscle response testing that she had a son, she had a child who had a severe head injury, and it was fatal. And because of that, it created a deep-rooted anxiety in her that she had to be careful that things were out of her control, and she was just on edge. And all of those emotions, we were writing them down, all of these emotions got encoded into her DNA and passed on down the line to us. And 100% of them went to my daughter Cambry. So that's why she was experiencing significant anxiety towards my son. And we found this out as we kept going. We found out how all these dots connected on my list. We tested what was going on with the seizure and the virus that my son had, and found out because they found a cyst on his head, and the doctor actually asked me at the ER, has he had a head injury? And we said, no, he's never had a head injury, nothing that we're aware of at all. And he said, okay, well, those cysts are common with head injuries. Well, what we found out was that was their way of getting our attention again. So her child, who was 13 generations back, was the one who had the head injury and died. And then as the dots started to connect, the spirit started to speak to me, and I felt, okay, this is related to the red stripe, the red hair that's growing out of your scalp. So I asked Kathy, and I said, do you think that's another way they were trying to get our attention, is head injury, red coming out of the head to signify the blood, and all the issues that we've had with blood in our family over the last few months. And we just both felt the spirit from head to toe confirm, yes, that is what this is about. And she confirmed it and said, absolutely, I'm feeling it from head to toe. They're letting us know that, yes, we're trying to get your attention. This needs to be cleared out of the DNA. It's affecting everybody. These emotions are stuck, and we need to heal them. So we wrote down all the emotions. We tested every emotion that she had passed on to us that were connected to all these problems and connected to that tragic issue, connected to that tragic memory of her losing her son with a head injury. And it was a loss of blood, we found out. He died from a loss of blood. So we cleared these emotions, and it changed everything in our family. So you know, if you've watched my other videos and you've listened to the studies that I've shared with you that have been done on this, that you clear these emotions in your own DNA, and it instantly clears it up in anyone who shares your DNA. So everything went away. The bloody noses went away. The issue of the blood with the 14 days completely cleared up. And the funniest part is, I went in for my hair appointment last week, and I just said to my hairdresser, hey, tell me if you see that red stripe. And she parts my hair. She knows right where the spot is. She said, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this. And I'm thinking, oh yes, I will. She said, your roots are growing out normal. There's like a half an inch And then it's red. Everything beyond that is red. She can see where she'd colored. So that is why this is so important to me. I've seen it time and time again. In fact, just so you know, I keep a journal, and I've got a lot of journals. If you've ever attended my classes, you know about my journals. But I have a specific journal for writing down whenever I do emotional clearing, whenever I do emotional healing, emotional release therapy, whatever you want to call it, and generational healing. I write down all my experiences so that I don't forget. And it's been amazing to be able to go back and read through these and see the patterns and connect the dots. Help these ancestors of mine who want this healing done. And it's also been helping me and my family. And I've had so many amazing experiences with this. What I shared with you today is just like 1/100th of my experiences I've had over the last several months. I've had so many, but they're very personal to me. They're very sacred. And some of them I do share when I feel prompted. And this is one of those experiences. So I can tell you that this is real. It is real. I have witnessed it. I have experienced it in my own life. It's incredible. It's amazing. And the way that you feel after you get those emotions out and you cleanse your DNA, it's amazing. Now, the one part that I want to address is the how. How do you release these emotions? And it's all through the atonement. So whether you want to do it through a prayer, whether you want to be more specific, I've got scripts where you can speak to your body, to your DNA, to your cells, to all of it, and ask it to release those emotions and give it to the Savior. No matter how you do it, you always have to give it to the Savior, because that's part of the healing. He does the healing. It's all done through Him. It's not done through you. It's not done through the person helping you. It's all done through the Savior. And so you have to speak to Him, and you have to directly give it to Him, and He will take it from you. And it's incredible. It's amazing. It's so easy to do. Now, as far as figuring out what it is that you have stuck in you, a lot of times you'll just know. You'll feel those feelings. You'll have thoughts like, oh, I feel overwhelmed, or I feel like life has too many burdens right now. Life is difficult. Life is hard. Things never work out for me. That type of stuff. Start documenting your feelings and your emotions that you're experiencing daily. Start documenting it all. Write it down, and you will start to see things repeating. Now, it's those emotions that repeat, and you know, most people are pretty smart. You'll know what's holding you back. You'll know what's pulling you down. Those repeating emotions, those repeating beliefs and thoughts are what you need to heal. If you don't have that gift of intuition, and you don't have that gift where you just know, you just know what's going on, you know if there's someone on the other side trying to get your attention, you just know. There's a lot of people who do have that gift, and you're welcome to reach out to me. I've got plenty of friends that I could refer to you. You might be surprised. You might even know people in your own family or in your own friend network who are very intuitive. So it's also something you can just go to with the Lord. For me, I've been able to do it through muscle response testing, and I've talked about that before as well. If you're not sure what that is, you're welcome to Google it. But through muscle response testing, you can get a direct yes or no, and it's just your spirit speaking truth, yes or no, yes or no. It's just kind of a second witness. And for me, I do have that gift of intuition, but for some reason with me, I always need a second confirmation. So I'll feel something, or I'll have a thought or a dream about someone or about something, but I'm just a little doubtful sometimes. And so through the muscle response testing, every single time it confirms exactly what I already felt, what I already thought, what I already dreamed about. So it's just that second witness for me. Once in a great while, I'll find out that there was more to it, and so I'm glad I tested and asked. But most of the time, I'm right on every time. So for me, that's been really helpful to help me pinpoint the problem and pinpoint the person who needs the help. And like I said, I document it all, so I keep track of my experiences, and that has blessed me and so many people that I've been able to help. If you're familiar with Christ-centered energy work, you can go to an emotional release therapist or somebody who's an emotion code or body code practitioner. There's lots of different types of wellness and healing practitioners. There's so many different tools and modalities that are available to us. But you just want to find someone who's centered in the gospel, centered in your beliefs and your principles, somebody who is centered on Christ. You want to find somebody who is centered on the Savior. Their focus is through the Savior. And there's lots of people available out there. You can contact me if you need some referrals. But I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. This has just been amazing for me, and I know so many people that this has helped. And it's just one of those things you would never know to think about. It's just one of those things that the Lord really directed me to. And it took me a course of several months for Him to finally say, this is what I need you to be doing right now. This is your gift, and you're going to help a lot of people. You're going to help your own family. This is how you're going to do it. And He really had to pull me in and show me right where He needed me to be. And it did take some time. But I'm here now, and I can tell you that it's amazing. It's so amazing to be able to clear those trapped emotions and negative beliefs and false beliefs out of your family lines, out of your blood, just out, completely out of your family. The healing that takes place is incredible. It's beautiful on so many levels, and I personally feel that as more people are guided to this, and the more people out there that begin cleansing those generational lines through their family, the more this is going to change the entire earth. I really believe that. I really believe it's going to increase the whole vibration of the earth so that this earth gets prepared. It gets put in that state to be prepared to meet the Savior when He comes. And that's just part of what I'm supposed to do, I believe, is just help people prepare themselves, prepare their families, and just prepare the earth to get ready to meet the Savior when He comes. And through generational healing is a huge part of how that will happen. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this today. If you have any questions or you have any experiences you want to share, reach out to me anytime. To reach out to me or for more of these videos, you can go to my website at yourhappylady.com. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel under Happy Marriages. And remember, that's all one word. Thanks so much, you guys, and we will see you soon.